In the early 1950s, the US Navy and the US Air Force both had a problem. The Navy needed a new carrier-based plane which could take off from any currently in-service carriers without the assistance of a catapult. The Air Force needed planes which didn't consume entire oil refineries worth of fuel and could act as escorts for the bombers of Strategic Air Command. During the two branches' research, it quickly became apparent that a turboprop fighter could solve the problems of both the Navy and the Air Force. Under the supervision of the Wright Air Development Center in Dayton, Ohio, it was decided that instead of developing a brand new aircraft, a pre-existing one should be modified to meet the new requirements. The aircraft chosen for said modification would be the flexible Republic F-84F Thunderstreech, and these modifications would then, in turn, lead to one of the most infamous experimental aircraft of the entire Cold War, the XF-84H Thunderscreech. Now, in order to make the Thunderstreech into a proper turboprop fighter, the original Wright J65 turbojet engine was done away with and was replaced by the 5,850 horsepower Allison XT40A1 turboprop engine, which in reality consisted of two small jet turbine engines mounted behind the cockpit which drove two 40,000 RPM drive shafts. These drive shafts ran down the sides of the cockpit and were linked to a special reduction gearbox behind the propeller. The propellers for this aircraft were, needless to say, a little bit bizarre, as they were not only almost completely rectangular, but they were also comically stumpy with a mere 12-foot diameter. The tip speed of these propellers was Mach 1.18. This speed remained constant from startup to shutdown, with thrust being controlled by adjusting the pitch of these propellers. Additional modifications were made to the Thunderstreech's wing roots, which now featured brand new intake ducts, a new horizontal T-type tail to prevent prop wash, and a vertical fin behind the cockpit to prevent the aircraft from constantly rolling over due to the engine's extreme torque. Just in case issues were encountered with the new engine, the XF-84H would be equipped with a retractable ram air turbine which could be raised into the airstream to provide electrical and hydraulic power in the event of engine failure. This would prove to be a wise decision later on. The completed XF-84H measured in with a wingspan about an inch less than the standard F-84F, but was nearly 8 feet longer, and weighed in empty nearly 4,000 pounds more than that of the standard Thunderstreech. Ground tests were conducted to make sure that this novel powertrain and control system would actually work, and it's believed that these tests were what caused the unofficial name change from Thunderstreech to Thunderscreech, as even now there was already an unexpected side effect to this conversion. Test flights with the two prototypes would begin in July 1955 at Edwards Air Force Base and would continue until October 1956. On day one, it all went wrong. The first issue encountered was with the new Allison engine, which took 30 minutes to fully warm up, which, by doing so, did not meet the Air Force's or the Navy's readiness requirements. Soon, a rather terrifying issue became apparent in the air, which was that the propeller governor began to suffer from surging at a speed of around 518 miles an hour, and the rotational force was causing the plane to forcibly rotate to the left. Yet another issue relating to the propeller was the pitch gearing mechanism for the propeller blades, which experienced several failures. It was also noted that the aircraft was prone to snaking in flight, and the aircraft could become practically unwieldy once the plane had gone over 450 miles an hour. These stability issues were so bad that Republic test pilot Lynn Hendricks told one project engineer after his first and only test flight, and I quote, "You aren't big enough and there aren't enough of you to get me in that thing again." In fact, there were only ever two test pilots, Hendricks and the man who flew 11 of the 12 test flights, God help him, Hank Baird. Well, as if we couldn't keep piling failure onto this aircraft, hydraulic and electrical system failure became a large problem, and as previously foreshadowed, that ram air turbine would prove to be a genuinely life-saving addition, as it had to be deployed all too frequently, and can even be seen in a photograph taken during yet another unsuccessful test flight. In total, 12 test flights were carried out, with 11 ending in emergency landings. As if it couldn't get any worse, the best speed the aircraft could achieve was an unofficial top speed of 623 miles an hour, which was 47 miles per hour short of the theoretical top speed, and the official recorded top speed came in at a measly 520 miles per hour. These problems would ultimately become only a part of the Thunderscreech's infamous legacy. The thing that made the XF-84H truly infamous was the horrendous sound that it produced. You see, by having those little small squared-off propeller blades breaking the sound barrier constantly with each revolution, you've effectively created a concussive blast generator. In fact, the horrific noise these propellers would make from constantly destroying the sound barrier could be heard 45 miles away. The noise from this aircraft was so bad that ground crews had to be kept a safe distance from the aircraft and often had to communicate with signal flags and lights, as no speaker was powerful enough to be heard over the sound of the Thunderscreech. Ground crews not only had to worry about the ear-splitting noise the plane produced, but also the pressure waves being emitted around the front when the engine was running, as the air being displaced by the propellers could knock a man off his feet. As if it couldn't get any worse, the sound from the propellers was so bad that it was interfering with operations within the control tower, which was now not only being deafened to potentially life-threatening emergencies, but was also suffering interference to the sensitive equipment thanks to the vibration being created by the noise. This issue eventually led the base to mandate that the XF-84H be towed out onto Rogers Dry Lake before any engine run-ups could be conducted. But the thing that would truly establish the Thunderscreech's infamy occurred during a ground test, in which the Thunderscreech was tested next to a presumably empty Douglas C-47. It's just one problem. The C-47 was in fact not empty, as the ground crew chief was inside sweeping out the plane when the order was given to fire up the Thunderscreech. The XF-84H's engines ran for 30 minutes, and it wasn't until the aircraft was fully shut down that the other ground personnel noticed a clanging noise coming from the supposedly empty C-47. Once inside, they found the crew chief incapacitated on the floor of the plane, quickly discovering the clanging noise they were hearing was the sound of him flailing his limbs around on the floor from having a seizure. Thankfully, said crew chief survived. At this point, one almost wonders if this horrific sound could have been employed almost as a weapon in and of itself, as a low pass over enemy ground forces would likely cause havoc to anyone unfortunate enough not to have hearing protection. Following failure after failure after failure, the project was very quickly abandoned in the fall of 1956, with no Air Force or Navy pilots ever flying the aircraft, as it had never even managed to get through the manufacturer's proving flights. Soon after this, aircraft 17060 was subsequently scrapped after only carrying out 4 test flights. Aircraft 17059 was mounted on a pole in Bakersfield, California to act as a gate guard for Meadows Field Airport. In the 1990s, the plane was taken off the pole and was shipped to Dayton, Ohio, where it was restored to static display condition by volunteers of the 178th Fighter Wing of the Ohio National Guard. Today, the sole surviving ear-shattering prototype of one of the worst aircraft to ever be designed is now a member of the National Museum of the United States Air Force, and is currently on display in the Research and Development Gallery, alongside many other things that will likely appear on this channel at some point. Anyway, well, that's the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did,
be sure to smash that like button.
And maybe subscribe, I don't know. Anyway, for the first time, even though I literally made a joke about it at the end of the last video, I want to announce that I have a Discord server. Yes, the obligatory YouTube channel Discord server. But, the link to that is in the description. Also have the option of channel membership, to where if you want to support my channel, you can do that. You can watch videos early. I don't know why you would do such a thing, but you can do it. Shout out to all 4 of my channel members, by the way. There is also another option that you can use to support me, which is Patreon. Yes, because I am going the complete sellout route, I have added a Patreon. Shout out to my lone patron, by the way, which the channel membership option and the Patreon option will be linked in the description. And, yeah, I don't know what else to say other than, bye, I guess?